What's good, and welcome to the Art Block, a show where I talk about all the cool, controversial, and crazy things happening in and around the art world. I'm your host, Habo, and I want to jump straight into the silliest story. Well, maybe not the silliest, but the most interesting story I saw this week. So there is an architectural award that just released, and they announced the winners on Monday night, last Monday, I believe. And included in this was an award for a bathroom, an architectural award for a bathroom here in Staten Island, of all places. Staten Island, right? Like, who goes over there? Let's be real. But among the winners of the initial award, we have the Lincoln Center's revamped David Geffen Hall. We also have the Studio Museum in Harlem. And among that, the major award was the AIANY that was gifted to or awarded to the Lopez Playground Public Bathroom on Staten Island. Now, when you see this article, because I will post the links in the description below, when you see this article, you will get to view what this bathroom looks like. And I ain't gonna hold you, it does look pretty nice. It's got like this very modern rectangular shape, some really beautiful colors and shades of blue. And the shot just looks nice. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it does look pretty nice. I'm just surprised to see that a bathroom gets an award. I've never heard of anything like that. I mean, if a bathroom can get an award, I should be able to get an award for something too. Like, where's my award at? I want an award. Give me one for most immaculate beard on social media. I'll take that. I'll take that for sure. But shout outs to all of these winners for these architectural awards for 2026, especially the bathroom on Staten Island. Even though I don't really fuck with Staten Island like that, I'm still going to be appreciative because it's something that's happening here in New York. And, you know, I'm always going to celebrate us regardless, no matter where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Even if there is long-standing beef between us, like the Bronx, I don't really be up in the BX like that. But you know, if they did win something, if they did get some sort of cool, you know, grant or new construction or whatever over there, I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. What's good? What's good? That's what's up. That's what's up. But shout outs to the Lopez Playground for sure. So another New York story. It's not really a story. It's more of just an announcement. I'm excited about this because I might actually go. I haven't been to this in such a long time. Governor's Ball 2026 just dropped their lineup for the entire weekend. So for those who don't know, Governor's Ball is a huge concert festival that happens here every once in a while. I don't know if it's every year, but I went one year. I won an award. Not won an award. I won tickets by listening to a radio show years ago. I want to say like this had to be like 2014, maybe even earlier than that. And I'll post the pictures in the Discord, in our Discord server. But it was so crazy because the pictures that were taken of me, I was the only nigga in a sea of white people going to see like the most random acts, like Laid Back Luke and a bunch of other people that were like in the electronica EDM scene. And I'm just like, damn, son, I look crazy. But I'll post the pictures in the Discord for those who are interested. But the lineup for 2026 looks pretty good. We got Lord, Kali Uchis, and ASAP Rocky who are headlining, and it's happening in Queens this year because the last time I went, the Governor's Ball was on Governor's Island, if I remember correctly. But they have a whole list of some amazing acts that I would love to see live. We got Major Lazer, we got Raven Lene, we've got, who else is up here? I saw somebody, I was looking at it earlier and I was scrolling. I was like, oh, Hemlock Springs is going to be there. Shout outs to her for getting famous on TikTok and now like really getting out there in the world. Because I remember when she first started and she was just like this quirky girl in her bedroom, and now she's performing shows live, bro. It's the power of the internet. You gotta give it up to the internet, the power of TikTok. Rest in peace, TikTok, because I'm not using that no more. And I know somebody's going to be like, well, other apps are tracking you, not the way TikTok is. And it's, you know, let's be real. Like, a lot of people aren't really considering what is being, you know, recorded or logged from all of their usage on these apps. Like, if you, I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not even going to get into it. But Clips is playing. Oh my god! All right, so Sunday looks like it's going to be the best day because we got ASAP Rocky, Clips, Freddie Gibbs, and The Alchemist, Hemlock Springs, and oh, the Between Friends. That name sounds familiar. I don't know. Does anyone know about that one? If you know who Between Friends is, let me know in the comments because maybe that's like a really good, band or whatever. But yeah, the lineup looks mad good, and I'm considering trying to get tickets to go. If I can get like free tickets, if I can find a way to get some free tickets, I'm gonna go. So it's happening from June 5th to June 7th, and yeah, I'm excited. Oh, Baby Keem is on Friday too. I just saw that. Mariah the Scientist. There we go. Yeah, so we got a really good lineup. We got a really good lineup. So the next thing I want to talk about, non-New York story. So don't worry about it. Non-New York story. Amy Sherrill, famed painter extraordinaire. She did the Michelle Obama portrait years ago. I forgot what year it was. It was a very controversial piece because a lot of people thought that it didn't really capture the essence of the First Lady, or because in her style, all the people are grayscale, right? So a lot of folks weren't really a fan of that. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was something different that we don't normally get to see. Both hers and Kehinde Wiley's were amazing portraits and something different. You know what I mean? Like we typically get like a very bog standard presidential First Lady portrait. So shout outs to Amy Sherrill for doing that. But also she just recently signed with a talent agency CCA. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article from Art News. Amy Sherrill, a painter renowned for her tender portraits of Black American life, has signed with talent agency Creative Arts Agency CCA, marking the latest high-profile crossover between the art world and Hollywood. Sherrill, who has also been represented worldwide by Hauser and Wirth Gallery since 2018, rose to national fame that year after being commissioned by First Lady Michelle Obama to paint her official portrait for the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. The work depicts Obama in grayscale, like I said before, posed against a pale blue background with her chin resting on her hand, wearing a checkered Millie dress by Michelle Smith's label that references the quotes of G's band. So I find this interesting because I thought the CCA was just a regular, art agency, but apparently this is connected to Hollywood. So it seems that at CCA, I'm reading again, Sherrill joins a prestigious roster of artists represented by the agency, including Arthur Jaffa and Julian Schnabel. I hope I said that right. As previously reported by Art News, Creative Arts Agency was founded by 5 power agents, among them 200 collector Michael Ovitz, and is part of a relatively recent trend that has seen major talent agencies, including UTA, move into artist representation. There is a possibility that this new model could work, but personally, I don't believe anybody can represent an artist without a space, Ovitz previously told Art News, adding that the best dealers such as Barbara Gladstone and Paste Gallery founder Arne Glimcher lived and breathed the art business. So this is interesting because I wonder if this means that we're going to see more of these pieces inside, film and TV. Right. I know there are some folks that I've met across social media that have their work featured in TV shows in the past. Shout outs to Mint Nelson, who's had his work on, I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're listening to this, I want to say it might have been Power or another like black thriller TV show that came out like fairly recently. But I think this is cool because now we're getting to see, I think it's two things. It's two things because now we're getting to see visual art and the art world kind of get the recognition it deserves and getting in spaces that we normally don't get to view the work, right? I do remember back in the day, like in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, you would have like black TV shows where characters would wear what do you call them? Excuse me. Black characters would wear HBCU shirts and sweaters on, right, to advertise not only the institution but to showcase that Black people are educated and that we are, collectively uplifting ourselves through education. For better or worse, for lack of a better term, I think that's kind of the gist of what that was, right? The representation of that to kind of push to people that, like, hey, this could be a thing that you can do, and this is possible for all of us, right? And I see that sort of thing kind of being what this could be for visual artists, right? So it's like, hey, you can sign with an agency and have your work featured in a major film, a major production, a TV show. And if anything outside of that, you're now just being, you have a safety net, you have protection by signing with this agency. And I think that's not like something that's really discussed, because so many people I know, including myself, work independently without any kind of structure or backbone or safety net to fall upon when it's time to make deals or get clientele or just to shop yourself around. So shout outs to Amy Sherald. I think this is something that would happen to someone of her stature. And I do hope that this inspires other artists to possibly seek some form of representation. I think that's really important, especially now where there's such a saturated market out there. And I think having that kind of representation and that team behind you could help to single you out and give you space where you couldn't get space before. Because with agencies, you have the resources. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can focus on creating your pieces while someone is trying to, like, find you an exhibition. They're trying to find you a new client. They're trying to find you something that is going to not only bring you money, but bring them in money too. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. I believe Morgan is signed to an agency as well. So I personally think this might be the next wave for a lot of folks. And I'm definitely going to look into it myself. I don't know what the steps are necessarily, but once I learn how to do it, then I'm gonna share that with y'all so that we can figure out how to obviously raise our ships together, as the proverb says. What does it say? Rising tide raises all ships. But yeah, this is cool. This is cool, and I wonder where this is going to go next, and what this means for Amy Sherald, and what this means for the art world, right? And I just hope that whatever happens, it's a positive thing, a net positive all around for her specifically, and just for Black artists. We are consistently and constantly underappreciated. We are exploited. We are misrepresented in so many different ways. Either within our own communities and outside our communities. It's a terrible thing to see, especially when it comes from our community. I was just talking with a colleague the other day, and we were chatting about the Black Boy, Black Girl art show, and he was letting me know about all the stuff that was going down with that organization. And I was kind of off them once I saw the AI. I was off them when I saw that they were stealing people's work to advertise without compensation. And it's just like, we can't sit here and try to be for community and uplift one another, attempt to uplift one another, and at the same time exploit. We're mimicking the same garbage that white people do just so that we can get ahead, and that's not how it's supposed to work. It's a communal thing. It's supposed to be something that we spread out for everyone, right? And when you are hosting a show and you go to a space and you just book it just on vibes, and you're not thinking about how artists' pieces are going to fit into it or how things are going to be set up logistically, then you're not really for the community. And I would love to sit down, honestly, I would love to sit down with the founder and his wife to talk about what's going on. Honestly, I would, because I think that's room for not calling them out, but just for ways to seek improvement, right? Because you shouldn't be in it just for the money. Obviously, we want to generate income from the things that we do. We want to generate income from the art that we make and the events that we host and put on, right? But at the same time, there's a fine line between making money with the community and making money off the community. And if you coming off the show and you've got like a few $100,000 in your pocket as you going back home to the town that you live in, and there's artists who are only making a couple of thousand, we got a problem. I think that's a problem. I firmly believe that we need to start rooting these people out. We need to start holding them accountable and stop going to these art parties or these supposed gallery shows and these art fairs that are only there to make a profit. You know, people are coming here to appreciate the work, not just, you know what I'm saying, make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of somebody. They're coming here to view it. They're coming here to have conversation and to network. Money is part of it, right? We're not going to escape that. Money will always be a part of that unless we end up living in a world where bartering and trading becomes the new norm. Until then, money is still going to be kind of the king of currency. You know what I mean? We're always going to have currency, but the way we do it now, yeah. Anyway, I just want us to do better. And I want us to hold each other accountable. Like, I would never support a show that is thrown together so haphazardly as Black Boy and Black Girl Art Show is. And with things like these agencies with Amy Sherrill, I think this is a way to get into a more, I don't want to say refined space, but something that has a little bit of I can't find the word, structure, some structure to it, some regulation to it, right? So that we don't end up in situations where people are going home broke, you know what I'm saying, or people are getting their work stolen. There was also a situation, the same colleague told me, where an artist was a part of the show and charged someone about $3,000 for a piece, and the piece never showed up. The piece never turned up. The piece was never mailed out. It was a scam the entire time. And fortunately, they did find the artist, and the client, the collector, got their money back. But that's another aspect of this whole thing. It's like you're not even vetting the artists that are part of your show. You're just going off of how many eyeballs this person can bring to the show. How many followers does this person have? How popular are they? And that shouldn't be what it is. You need to actually look up and look into the people you're hosting at your event. There's a certain level of quality that you need to have. There's a certain level of integrity that you need to have. Don't just throw things at the wall and see what fits. You know, I want us to do better. And that's something that we need to refine. It's too many of these art shows and these supposed curators who are coming out here who have no background in the arts. And you don't necessarily have to have, you don't necessarily have to have a background in the arts to curate a show, to host an art event, to do anything in a professional manner, because we all have to start somewhere. But if you are going to do something of that scale, you might need to take some time to do research and also have a liaison included so that you can have a reference point on what is the right way or wrong way to go about these things. Case in point, and this is no disrespect to these folks, but there was a gallery that I was going to be a co-curator on for an exhibition. And the whole setup, and I've talked about this at length on one of my members only streams. I think it might have been here on YouTube or on Patreon. But I was part of a team, a curatorial team that was supposed to put on an event. And I was excited because I liked this gallery, and I saw the potential for this gallery to really do something amazing, especially for Black people. And because of the way I am, and y'all know me, when it's time to work, it's time to work. I'm very rigid. I'm very matter of fact. I'm very professional. And like when I got to do work, I got to do work, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right. I'm the best at what I do. All right. So On this team, that level of quality and tenacity that I was expecting was not there. I'm not going to call out anybody specifically. I'm not going to say no names right now. And again, I talked about this at length on the members only stream if you want the full like details. But what turned out, what I thought was going to be like a really interesting and fun event, or at least build up to the event, turned out to be just like a very slow burn across the board where, you know, the gallery space is not huge. And I'm asking the lead curator, like, all right, how many pieces are we going to have and what's the size? And he's giving me like the maximum, you know, amount possible. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. You're saying 28 artists. That's a lot of people to handle for anything. But in that space alone, that's still crazy. 28 artists. And then the sizing, he's talking about like 10 by 8 feet. And I'm like, we can't, like, we need to have a limit for something. We can't just grab any old person or anybody just because we want to just have people in here. The strategy was just like with Black Boy, Black Girl Art Show and a lot of these other institutions and spaces was, oh, let's grab whatever and we just, you know, go through it. And it's like, no, we need to be more refined when we come to spaces like this. We need to have a better system in place. Because otherwise, you're going to have people come to the show, you're going to have people come to the exhibition, you're going to have people come to the event, and they're going to talk shit about you. They're going to say this was tacky. They're going to say this was bad. And then it's going to put a stain on not only you and us individually, but collectively as an art community. The Black art community is in complete and utter shambles. You got people who are chasing the white dollar and the white gaze, GAZE. Then you got folks who are manipulating and extorting their own people. And then you got folks who don't know what the hell they're doing and end up just screwing people over anyway. And then sometimes it's a mix of all three. And that's not to say that there aren't any amazing spaces and individuals out there, right? But I feel like there's more negativity than positivity when it comes to this thing. Despite all of that, despite the negativity and exploitation and all the weirdness that has been going around for some time, I do believe there is still a chance to pivot and move into a positive direction. I do believe there's a way to get together and have better opportunities for all artists, from emerging to established, from newcomers to mid-level to high. I believe that it's possible because I've been in those types of experiences. Shout outs to Magnolia Tree Earth Center and Fulton Art Fair. That was one of the first shows I did last year, and I was able to sell my piece on top of being able to network with other amazing and genuine artists and collectors. A few years ago, I did a market with Will Focus and Nay Marie of Tajimag, with their Black Summer Market. It was hosted in a community space where we were able to not only sell our wares and sell our work, we were able to be in community with other people that were interested in working and connecting further outside of that event, whether it was for new purchases or to collaborate, you know. And that's just a couple of instances where that positive outcome was apparent, where you didn't feel like there was a dark cloud hanging over you and everybody was a real, genuine human being. So it is possible. It is possible for us to come together and have better communal, community-oriented spaces like that to represent artists in a non-exploitative way. It is possible. And I'm working on that. I'm actually, and I'm not going to go into details right now, but I'm actually working to have some events pop off this year that center around that, where we can make money, we can network, and still have a good time. You know, it's not going to be no wacky tacky shit. You know what I'm saying? But on another positive note, we have the award seasons coming up. We have the Oscars, we have the NAACP awards, and I think there's some other ones scattered around. But one of the coolest things I saw recently, and I've watched, It's a great cartoon called Iyanu, Child of Wonder. It comes out on Cartoon Network. You can watch it on HBO Max. I'm planning a video, a deep dive into the show next month. So expect that in February. A Habbo Speaks a feature. Okay, it's going to be fantastic. And they have been nominated. The show has been nominated for 3 NAACP Image nominations. So, first of all, this show comes from an African creator, right? This is centered around African aesthetics and folklore, and it has no. This is the most pure form of like a black African cartoon that you would ever see in modern time. It feels like one of those. I don't know if y'all grew up listening to like African folk tales and things like that. Like you went to a little children's center and then like somebody performed like an old African folk tale for you. This feels like that, but in animated form, and it's such an amazing show. It's like people compare it to Avatar, and it has a similar notion with like this chosen one with an amazing ultimate spiritual power, but it's so far removed from that the comparison becomes kind of irrelevant. But it's an amazing show. I've enjoyed it. I binged it recently. I watched the movie, and I'm very proud that they are nominated for these awards. So the 3 awards are, and I'm reading here off of animationjournal.news. We have, excuse me, hold on, I just had it up. Outstanding animated series, outstanding children's program, and outstanding writing in a television, movie, documentary, or special. And you can vote on these right now. I'll provide the link. You can vote until February 7th, I want to say. And I also believe the New York Times, as the article states here, awarded it must-watch children film of 2025 for their spinoff special, the Age of Wonders film that they had on HBO Max. They put that on HBO Max. You can watch it alongside the series as well. So shout outs to Iyanu. Shout outs to the team. Shout outs to Roy Okupe, if I'm saying his name right. Shout outs to the entire team that worked on this show. Y'all are doing something really amazing and wonderful that I've been wanting to see for a long time. This is a great family-friendly show. This is a great show to watch for any age. And I'm glad to see this be such a prominent program, just kind of growing and extending itself across cultures. You know what I mean? Because we've never had anything like this before, and I'm just excited overall, like really excited to see them get these nominations. On top of that, the Oscars is coming up, and Sinners is one of the biggest films of our current timeline right now. Last year, I saw people take groups to go see this film. The number one film in 2025. I'm not saying any other film wasn't great, but this had a cultural moment that was so massive that you had church groups booking tickets, taking their congregation to go see this film. I'm telling you, bro, it was a moment. That's called cultural impact emotion, which we don't see. That's a rare thing, especially coming from a black film, a black work of art. So rightfully, they were nominated for 16 awards for the Oscars. 16, which is the most in Oscar history. And of course, all of the haters and the racists are like, was the movie really that good? And it's like, you don't say that about anything else. Now, all of a sudden, a black film gets some accolades, and now we're questioning everything. They keep comparing the film to From Dusk Till Dawn. And it's like, From Dusk Till Dawn never got any nominations. So let's be for real. And each one of these are well-deserved because this film is magnificent. Something that I think will be talked about for years and years to come. So I'm going to read all of these nominations because they're well deserved. They're well deserved. It looks like it's more than 16. Am I tripping? Some of these is older or other, excuse me, nominations. So they've got nominations across all the awards, the award shows. So we got like the Critics' Choice Award, we got Academy Award, but we're gonna focus on the Oscar nominations. Let's see now. Where do I read? I thought I had this pulled up here. All right, so I was able to find the list. I don't have the exact details for some reason. I don't know. I think they're doing that on purpose because I was trying to find just the actual list for all the awards with Sinners and the person that was tied to it. So I'm just going to read the actual nomination itself. So Sinners has been nominated for 16 awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Score, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, and Best Sound. Now, if you're going to sit here and tell me that they don't deserve that, then something's wrong with your eyes, your ears, and your brain. Either something's a little bit too small or a little bit too big up there. Because this is something that I think we needed to see, right, in so many different ways, because it's not, even though it does tap into some racial tension, it's not a Black trauma film. And on top of that, it's supernatural. We have vampires, we have a little bit of magic in there, you know, and it's educational. There's so many people that learned about hoodoo, HOODOO, from watching this film. There's so many people that learned about how things were going down back in the day from watching this film, you know? And a lot of people learned what I think the word is octoroon. A lot of people learned what an octoroon was, including myself. So this film had so many different angles that can be appreciated. We got a good vampire story. We got to experience Black joy. We got some education on some Black American tradition and history. And we got to see some of the coolest musical performances in a film in a long time. Shout outs to Miles Catton. I think that's his last name. That's how you pronounce it, Catton or Caton. So Sinners and Iyanu deserve all of these awards. I hope they win every single one of them. I hope Iyanu wins all 3 of theirs. And I hope Sinners wins all 16 of their nominations, because once they do, you won't be able to tell nobody. And you can't tell us anything, especially Ryan Coogler, honestly, at this point. I don't think anybody has been awarded this much as he has. I don't think anybody has been awarded this much as he has. So at this point, you can't tell us nothing. You can't tell the community nothing. You can't tell him nothing. You can't tell anybody on that film nothing. Off the nominations alone. So shout outs to them. Shout outs to our people. And shout outs to Black creativity, because we are the blueprint. We deserve better. We deserve better. And we deserve more. Next thing I want to highlight is the premiere of the 3rd season. One of my most, I think I talked about this to death when it first dropped. The most talked about cartoon I discuss pretty often. Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal. Primal is on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and you can watch it on HBO Max. And if you don't know, Genndy Tartakovsky is the man behind Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, Hotel Transylvania, and I believe there's a couple of other shows that he's done, films and TV shows he's done. But the ones I know him from are Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack. And he dropped Primal a few years ago. And it's essentially, the greatest thing about this show is that it's all silent. There's no open dialogue between characters. There's grunting and there's yelling and things like that, but it's all based off of action and what's going on screen. So this is a show that demands your focus and demands your attention. You can't be on your phone. You can't be on your laptop. You can't be doing something else while watching this because you're going to end up missing out on a lot. So this is a show. This is a cartoon that wants you to watch it. This is a cartoon that wants you to pay attention. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I honestly think this might be the best cartoon we have right now as far as like adult animation, because I know a lot of folks always say like, oh, adult animation always looks the same and it looks like Rick and Morty, da 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 da. And then here you go with this example. We have an example right here of something that's not only fun to watch, but has an amazing story. Like every moment of this show is just engaging, from the action to the quiet parts. So season 3 just dropped on the, I want to say the 11th, and I think it's every Sunday. So every Sunday it comes out, or I think every Sunday or every Saturday it comes out, and you can watch it on HBO Max. And I think they have a couple episodes on YouTube you can watch for free. But honestly, shouts to Kenny Tartakovsky for doing such amazing work and really showing people that like, yo, hey, we got some good adult cartoons out here. They're not all goofy and doofy looking, okay? Another one really quick is Common Side Effects. Y'all should check that out too. Common Side Effects comes out on Adult Swim as well. We're still waiting on season 2. They did announce season 2 a while back, so hopefully we get that very soon. If we don't, I'll just, head over to the HQ and be like, yo, let me see that file. No, let me stop. I ain't going over there. I ain't gonna do nothing. But yeah, check it out. Just check it out. Another piece, and I don't know if I'm doing this right. Like sometimes when I'm podcasting or talking like solo, I feel like I'm just kind of going through the numbers. But I guess that's all I can do, right? Because I don't have anybody to bounce off of. So hopefully this is entertaining enough for y'all. And if it is, just let me know. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments below. For real. I would like to know so that I can improve. If it is corny, I wanna do better, right? I don't want it to just be like, I'm getting up here and I'm reading off articles and stuff like that, and you don't like it. I want to do something that is entertaining to you as well. And hopefully, you do like the news that I'm giving you, because this is all good stuff, man. This is really things that we need to be kept up on, especially when it comes to AI, especially when it comes to generative AI specifically. So in Alaska, there was a college student that was arrested for eating AI artwork. Yeah. There's this college student, this white kid that went to a gallery, ate some art and spit it back out. I'm dead ass. So I'm going to read this article here from Art News. And yeah, this is so crazy to me. And I think this is something that we need to see more of, honestly. I'm not going to hold you. I feel like this is something we need. This is something we need to see more of. So the University of Alaska Fairbanks undergraduate was arrested earlier this week for eating an AI-generated artwork on view in an MFA exhibition and has since addressed his controversial meal. Graham Granger, a student in the school film and performing arts program, was charged Wednesday with a Class B misdemeanor, criminal mischief, for tearing up a set of Polaroids by Nick Dwyer, causing less than $250 in damage. Granger was tearing up and just shoving them as fast as he could, a witness told The Nation. Like when you see people in a hot dog eating contest, according to the police, roughly 57 of the 160 images in the show were destroyed. This man ate 57 Polaroids. How do you do that? He spit them back out. He didn't swallow them. He spit them back out. But it's like, didn't that cut up your mouth? They didn't hurt? This man ate 57 Polaroids. And the real issue is, why do we have AI generated art in a human exhibition? Why do we have AI generated art in an exhibition, period? And I love that this student stood up and said, you know what? Fuck this. We are going to make sure that we make a statement and say, we do not want generative AI in this space. We don't want generative AI in any space. It's causing problems everywhere, physical problems. The AI that y'all are generating come from data centers that are drying up water, and not only that, poisoning the area that they live in. There's pollution that's happening. I keep bringing up Boxtown, Tennessee, and y'all need to go read up on that and see what's going on. But it's for real. Generative AI is a stain on the art world because it does not do anything. It doesn't grow. It's stagnant. It doesn't learn. And you, as the prompter, aren't learning art at all in any sense. You're not learning about lighting, composition. You're not learning about color theory. You're not learning about anything. And you could, if you picked up a pencil, a brush, a marker, whatever the case may be, and practice. There are free resources out there that can help you. There are artists out there that do teach workshops. But instead, you want to get on ChatGPT or whatever else and press a few buttons and think you did the next. Do you think you're the next Rembrandt? You think you're Basquiat? You think you're Picasso? You think you're Faith Ringo? But you're not. You're not. And I want to see more people stand up to AI in this way, because typing on the internet and yelling at each other and trying to out people for using AI, that only does but so much. It's easy to sit on the computer and say things and yell, right? Even me sitting here right now, it's like I'm only doing but so much. But to actually be outside and be within the community and actually talk to officials and create groups where we're actually trying to foster some sort of legislation against these things, to create policy to go against these things. That's the real work. That's the root work that needs to happen. Making you aware of it is one step. Being on this podcast and making posts and comics about it, that's one step, but that's not the final step. What this dude did in Alaska, that's the next step. The physical aspect, the physical act. Because how dare you, University of Alaska Fairbanks, how dare you allow AI generated art in your show? That is disrespectful to all the other students that work diligently day and night to learn a craft so that they can showcase their talents and express themselves to the world. And you want to go here and put up some little stupid ass robot art. I know that's kind of making it. It's not robot art. You know what I mean. But let's be for real. The use of artificial intelligence in the industry is definitely growing in certain areas. But I think what we need to do is make sure that we can put up a wall around that before it gets too deep and before it gets too far. Because I have seen people lose their jobs to generative AI. I have seen people lose opportunities to generative AI, right? And you see it all across social media, from the highest to lowest. You see people using Gen AI to make book covers, profile pictures, album art, all these different things. And it all looks the same. It all looks like dookie. It all looks like garbage. I'm not going to sit here and say like the technical aspect of it from when it first came out and where it is now is the same. It has advanced and it's become more accessible. However, it is the antithesis of, if you are a fan if you're a fan of any artist, any cartoon, any TV show, any film, and then you sit and generate some imagery or an animation to mimic that, you're spitting in the face of your favorite directors, painters, sculptors, musicians. That's what you're doing. That's basically like going to somebody's house and shitting on the floor. That's basically what you're doing. You coming in You just tearing up the place. You coming in and you just putting nonsense all over the wall. You're like a person that's just scribbling madness across the wall in red ink. So shout outs to, what is his name again? Graham. Shout outs to Graham Granger. Shout outs to Graham Granger. Free Graham if he's still in jail. I doubt he's still in jail, but free Graham. Free Graham for real. If you're in the comments below, say free Graham. Free Graham. But no, I would have done the same thing. Maybe not eaten it. I wouldn't have eaten it. I like the statement that he made. Basically, AI chews up and spits out garbage. I like that. I probably would have just done a different route. I probably would have just cut it up with scissors or something like that, or maybe spray painted it or something like that, but I wouldn't have put it in my mouth. That's disgusting. All them germs. Then I might cut myself too, and then I got it's a $250 fine and arrested. I don't know if I want to be arrested with cuts in my mouth. But AI sucks, man. And it's great that San Diego Comic-Con also realizes this too. I just found out about this a couple of days ago. I didn't even know, because I don't really go to Comic-Cons. I don't go to conventions. So I don't necessarily keep up with the news and things that go on with these events. But what came across my desk recently was the fact that they banned AI art. And supposedly there was a policy where they were allowing it to be displayed and sold on their floors. And now they have revoked that. So I'm reading an article from art.net or artnet.com, that says the previous policy in place since at least 2024 allowed AI art as long as it was marketed not for sale and clearly identified as AI generated. If one of the parameters in its creation was something similar to done in the style of, that information must be added to the description. But earlier this month, artists began speaking out against the policy on social media. Carla Ortiz, an artist who has worked on films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and is a plaintiff in an artist lawsuit against several AI companies, I do remember this, was among those to condemn the policy on Blue Sky. She called it a disgrace to allot valuable space to generative AI to show slop right next to actual artists who work their asses off to be there. It is a disgrace. Absolutely, I agree with her. So in response to the backlash, Comic-Con quietly updated its guidelines to take a hard line against AI. As reported by Culture Crave and 404, the new guidelines state that material created by AI, artificial intelligence, either partially or wholly, is not allowed in the art show. If there are any questions, the art show coordinator will be the sole judge of acceptability. That's what's up. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. I don't know why they allowed it in the first place, but I'm glad that they revoked it. And I think they should have loudly, because everybody's saying they quietly updated. I think they should have said it loudly. There should have been a whole video about it. You could have did a skit. I would do a skit. I would absolutely do a skit. But there are conventions that have allowed, art fairs that have allowed AI art, but there's so many now that are pushing back against it. I believe Dragon Con kicked somebody out not too long ago. I think it was Dragon Con. I think that's what it was called. And they found a booth where somebody was selling Gen AI, right? And then they just removed him and all his work from the convention, which was amazing. And I think that's what we need to do. But also, we need to vet. We need to actually check. This goes back to the conversation I was saying earlier with the Black community and the Black art community. We need to vet the people that are participating in these conventions and these art shows. You need to review their work and their history and see if they are who they say they are, and if their work is genuinely, created by their hands. That's what you need to do. The fact that this person was able to get that far in the first place is a problem. The fact that that person was able to book space and be accepted is a problem. So it's going to require a more hands-on approach. Obviously, it's going to take a lot more man hours or people hours to do so. But I think it's worth it in the long run to make a statement against generative AI. And I make the distinction between generative AI and AI because there's different forms. And I don't have necessarily a problem with artificial intelligence because we use that every day in different formats. It's generative AI that I feel is causing a lot of issues within so many different industries creatively, and causing a lot of derision between people who create art and people who think they're creating art, and people who disrespect. I've seen posts where people are like, "Oh, watch out, so and so, I'm coming for your job," you know? And it's like, you're not. I think honestly, sometimes people do that just to rile folks up because it's easy to rile folks up on the internet, especially people that are terminally online. And that's how some people get off. But I do genuinely think that there are folks who believe what they're making is going to be like the next big thing, which is insane to me. But this is a great step. These two things, that the artist eating the art, the AI at the show, and this Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con banning AI art is a great step on the road to pushing back against generative AI. Absolutely. And if you support any form of generative AI, I think you need to have a conversation with yourself and a conversation with somebody that makes actual art. I actually turned down a show. There was supposed to be this really cool show that was an outdoor show for Black artists. And I turned it down because I saw that the event planner, the host, was using a generative AI flyer and putting people's faces and their artwork on this flyer. And I did not want to be associated with that. And I thought it was just wild because this person is also an artist. So what are we doing and what are we saying to people when we ourselves as artists use generative AI to promote events for artists? Like, what is that? You know? I don't know if that sentence made sense, but I just think it's kind of like being like, it's like if you were a vegan and to bulk up, you were eating actual hamburgers instead of like alternative protein. Kind of defeats the purpose of your ideology and your lifestyle. You can't be a vegan and eat meat. If you're a vegan, you're a vegan. So if you are an artist, you shouldn't be partaking in any form of generative AI. And I'll admit, when it first came out, I did use it because there was no information out yet. And everybody was just doing it for fun. Like I remember when Midjourney came out, everybody was making like they were trying to make these like, you know, random ass pictures of different like characters and stuff like that. I did a couple of like, it was Sonic, and I tried to do like a Pokemon type thing just to see what it was like. And I made a point of that in a previous episode of this series. I think it was because it was 2 episodes with Allison. In the first episode with Allison, we were laughing at AI. In the second episode with Allison, we were apologizing because we learned how devastating and ridiculous it was, and how disgusting it is. Because the people that made AI don't care about art. The people that made AI don't care about artists. These are just tech bros that want to be cool and be included in conversations that they don't need to be in. It's the same thing with white people. When they appropriate and steal things from Black culture consistently and constantly, to this day, it still happens. To this day, they appropriate so much. Even like, unfortunately, as unfortunate as the deaths of Renee Good and oh my God, I'm blanking on the other gentleman's name. There's 2 gentlemen that also passed away, and forgive me for not knowing their names off the top of my head, and that's a problem. Right? Because one of the men that were executed by ICE was a Black man. And the white people are taking Say Her Name, which was reserved for the black community, for Sandra Bland. It came from that. It came from the fact that when anything happens to us, it's always buried or ignored, right? You never see it at the forefront of the news. A little black girl goes missing, or someone gets hurt, or someone gets killed. It's always a side story or negligible and doesn't make the news or doesn't make the headlines. So that's where Say Her Name came in, because we wanted people to know what was going on. We wanted to bring attention to the police brutality that has pervaded and existed throughout our community since the dawn of policing. And that's what white people do. They steal, they appropriate and repackage. They say something as ghetto, but then they use it and turn it into something chic and urban. That's what AI is. It's appropriating the work of hardworking, creative people from all across the spectrum of creativity, from all walks of life, from all forms of the industry. And of course, it can't replicate a sculpture yet, but someone's going to figure it out. They've already got film, they've already got cartoons, they already got illustration, they already got comics, they already got music. It's only a matter of time before they come for different art forms. And if you think they're not going to touch your art form, you better think again. So I would advise you, if you're listening to this, if you made it this far, which congratulations, I'm glad that I didn't bore you, look up what's going on. Do a little research. I'm going to provide some articles in the description below, and I'll provide some in Discord as well for those who are in Discord, so that we can all stay up to date of what's happening, so we can be prepared on how to fight back against what's going on. Because we should not be seeing anybody making AI art and winning competitions. We should not be seeing anybody at an art show or an exhibition with AI art. We should not be seeing AI art at conventions and art fairs next to people who spent years learning how to paint, years learning how to animate, years learning how to character design. It's a spit in the face. It really is. But it's a long road, but we're going to succeed. I do believe that we're going to succeed. I do. Lastly, because I don't even know how long this is going to be, and I thought this is a cute little thing to end with. For those who are in New York, matter of fact, this is not the last part, actually. There's something else I want to start doing. And I think it'll be a fun thing to continue to do, especially at the end of every episode, or at least have it a segment throughout. And I'm still learning how to make this more interactive and a resource for everyone. But before I get into that, for those who are in New York, you grew up using the Metro card. The Metro card was our way to get on a bus, to train, to travel around the city, to travel around the boroughs. It was introduced when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, we had the token. And I remember like going on the bus with my grandma, we always have like the tokens and stuff. Get on the train, you got to put the token into the turnstile. And then I want to say by the time I was in maybe middle school, the Metro card was a very prominent and common thing. And if you grew up in New York as a kid, you had either the orange or the green Metro card, the orange or the green one. And recently, the Metro card died. The Metro card was sent off into consumerist heaven, as you would say. Thanks to the Omni card, there's a new system that I think is very anti-consumer. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very classist. So I believe it's creating a lot of problems for folks that don't have access to certain, technologies. And I believe it also is disrupting the entire ecosystem of how the MTA worked, because you used to have transfers on your car. So say like you take one bus, let's say you get on the B38 and now you're about to get on the B46. once you go from that bus to the other one, there's a transfer. It means you get a free ride. And from what I've heard with Omni, that doesn't work anymore. So now we're spending more money on top of the fact that the fare just went up to $3. It's crazy. Anyway, a really cool thing happened, and I don't know if it's still going on, and I got to check it out myself. I'm going to try to go if it's still there. Recently on December 17th, the Transit Museum, the New York Transit Museum, which is here in downtown Brooklyn, they held an exhibition for the Metro card, which exhibited different artwork of the card that we had over the decades, which I think is amazing. I'm going to read this article here on the Gothamist, gothamist.com. In honor of the magnetic stripe card's retirement, the New York Transit Museum is set to open an exhibit, open an exhibition at its Brooklyn location on December 17th. Farewell, get it? Fare as in like bus fare, train fare. Farewell MetroCard will offer visitors a walk down MetroCard memory lane through a variety of carefully curated media, both rare and relatable, plucked from the iconic payment method's history. As Omni becomes the new way to pay, the exhibition invites visitors to explore the MetroCard's origins, its system-wide rollout, the technology behind it, and the many ways it's become a cultural icon for a generation of riders, which I think is amazing. I love it. And apparently there's some limited edition cards there that I've never seen before. So hopefully it's still going on, because I will definitely go once the snowstorm is out of our way, because we got a big storm this weekend. But shout out to the Metro card. You were there for every step of my life, getting me home safely after school every day. And yeah, I think this is dope. This is something big and cultural that I don't think we ever seen anything like this before. So I love it. And the Transit Museum is dope anyway. Like, I've been there a few times, and it's a fantastic and phenomenal curated history of the transit system. And just seeing all the old trains and memorabilia, it's nice to learn where we came from as far as how public transit worked. Now they need to improve the transit system overall. I think there's a long way to go, and hopefully Zohran Mamdani can help mitigate that. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. Hopefully, by the time his term ends, we'll be in a better place for that. But anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching this episode. The one thing I wanted to do, and I'm gonna try to do this every week, is provide some art news as far as opportunities that are listed. And I think this is something that would be great for those that are seeking opportunities to expand their career, to get grant funding, and also be able to learn about what's happening in and around the art world. I think this is important because a lot of people don't know about grant funding or residencies and exhibition openings and things like that. So there is one. We have, oh no, this is not is this an open call? Yes, it is. So there's one right now, straight off of my Instagram feed. We have the Bailey Cafe and Fulton Art Fair. They're putting on, an exhibition for Black History Month. It's called Diasporic. It's a open call for submissions. And the submission deadline is January 29th. Excuse me. This was posted 5 days ago, so I do apologize. I'm just now seeing this. The submission is January 29th, the deadline. You can submit up to 3 works, and the dimensions for it cannot exceed 24 by 48 inches. And you can submit it to their email address, and I'll provide all the links, like I said, in the description below. So if you're looking to apply, just go to the description below and you'll have the links there. There's also an open call, and I do apologize for this being Brooklyn centered, but I'll try to expand it out. I haven't prepared an actual list. I used to do a newsletter. I'm gonna try to get back on that very soon for February. So all the stuff I'm reading right now is probably going to be mostly Brooklyn centered. I'm gonna read maybe 2 more. So we have an open call for film photographers, and this one, you submit to Brooklyn Film Camera. They're looking for artists to be featured in their monthly exhibition. A featured artist is selected each month and reviewed on a rolling basis. So this looks like this might be a ongoing, recurring call. And they're looking for some artists for February. And I believe the submission deadline, they don't clarify, but there is a link to submit as well. So for any film photographers out there, submit to this. You'll be featured in their store gallery at 855 Grand Street, which I think is amazing. That's fantastic. Another one we have here, this is a portfolio review. No, I'm looking for an open call, another photographer open call. This is from C-Zine Photo, a magazine for contemporary photography. The deadline has passed. Oh, sorry. So the deadline for this one has passed. I'll try to find something else and put it in the description below. I do apologize. We do have, all right, sorry. No, we do have something, an open call from Fire Island Residency for LGBTQIA plus emerging visual artists. The deadline is on April 1st, and you submit your applications on their link for their summer residency, which I think is fantastic. I've heard of Fire Island Residency before, so y'all should definitely get up on that. Sorry for this being so like tacky and all over the place. I didn't screen everything beforehand, so I do apologize, but definitely apply to these. I'm going to put these in the links below, and I'll also have them on Patreon very soon as well. So on Patreon, I have a free artist opportunity newsletter and chat that you can check out, where I post any new opportunities that come across my desk, and I want to share with y'all so y'all can have the resources to get that money, get that funding, get those opportunities, and be in front of the audience that you deserve. And it's free. You don't have to pay for that at all. But the only reason why you have to sign up is so that I'm also seeing who's jumping on, but also to make sure that, you know, you're getting the quality that you deserve by what's the word I'm looking for? Because some people do it and it just kind of like throw things together. I'm curating this list, so I want you to be able to like get into a community of people that are also trying to access these things, and you can network, right? So that's the whole point of this. So that's why you sign up to it. But other than that, it's free. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to pay for anything for the Artist Opportunities newsletter or the chat. That's absolutely free. Now, the consultations and the workshops, that's different. But the actual listings, that's free. I'll never, ever charge for that. And it's a shame and disgusting that some people do. I'm not going to call out anybody specifically, but I hate to see that when that happens. But anyway, this was the Art Block. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all. Shout outs to our Patreon supporters. Without y'all, things wouldn't be possible. Shout outs to everyone that watches these episodes and comments. I appreciate y'all. Leave a comment below. Share this with your friends. Let's talk about all the things and keep the conversation going. But until next time, stay true, stay you. We out. Deuces.